happy. Red skies are gray.
One day I had a grandmother come in and she's taking care of her little grandson, and she turned to the side as she entered the door and said, "Can I have 2 onions?" And to me, that was more than just 2 onions. That was a larger piece of not having food.
I'll be honest, when money is tight, sometimes things aren't the healthiest at home. There are times where there's been issues with my check, or it just hasn't gone as far as it could. But I'm telling you, between here and there, I wouldn't be able to make it. And I know a lot of other people wouldn't be able to make it.
Low-income families have the hardest time accessing the healthiest food possible because you have a limited amount of money at a certain time of the month, and it is because it's perishable that it's hard to access.
Being able to provide that additional support to families is what Second Harvest allows us to do. If we didn't have the rescue food from Second Harvest, I don't think as much of the nutritious meals that we're able to provide.
Can you tell them how much you like the fruits and vegetables?
A lot.
Sometimes it's overwhelming, and when I do get overwhelmed, and sometimes my pride gets in the way.
It's much more that grandmother is having to deal with, is lack of food, lack of proper housing, lack of support for her grandson that is dealing with autism.
You never know, dear, just how much I love you. Please don't take the sunshine away.
I love you too.
Good evening, and on behalf of the Second Harvest Board of Directors, I'd like to welcome all of you to the 2021 Second Harvest Annual General Meeting. Please take a few seconds to familiarize yourself with the Zoom features of this webinar. All attendees have been muted and videos and chat have been turned off upon joining. There is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen that you can use to contact us if you are experiencing technical difficulties. My name is Bernie Allian, and it has been my honor to serve as chair this past year. It can be argued that there's never been a more important time for an organization like Second Harvest, given everything that we've all been through. I hope that your involvement with Second Harvest brings you the same level of pride and fulfillment that it does for me, especially as one considers the impact that Second Harvest has helping Canadians across the country. Before we start this meeting, I would invite us all to take a moment to acknowledge the lands of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples on which we come together. The land I'm standing on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. I also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty signed with the multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. Today we begin our coming together with a statement for all of us to reflect on the unique connections and relationships Indigenous persons and their ancestors have had with this place for thousands of years. We offer our gratitude to the First Nations for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. I would like to welcome everyone joining us virtually this evening. We have been very busy here at Second Harvest as we begin the 3rd year of a very ambitious 3-year strategic plan. A strategic plan which has been critical to keeping us focused on our mission and has provided us the important framework to evaluate and advance in all we are doing. I stand before you proud to say that we have met and exceeded our goals, and we are delighted for the opportunity to share them with you tonight. By now, we are all too familiar with the impact of COVID-19. It has completely transformed how we all live, work, and play, and the people that suffer the most are often those who can least afford to, which is why Second Harvest mission is more vital today than ever before. It's during times of crisis that the true mettle of a person shows, and an able leader holds the power to turn adversities into possibilities. Which is why I'm proud to introduce one of Canada's most admired CEOs of 2021, Lori Nicol, who will provide a few of the highlights for this remarkable year. Lori, over to you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Bernie, for your leadership as chair of the Second Harvest Board of Directors during this intense time in our history. It has truly been another exceptional year with the tireless commitment of an extraordinary team led by an exceptional board of directors, supported by countless food, financial, and in-kind donors, all with the same vision, ensuring no Canadian gets left behind, while at the same time protecting our Earth. I would like to welcome all of you to the Second Harvest Annual AGM. Bonsoir et bienvenue à l'Assemblée Générale Annuelle, la 12e récolte. I am humbled and privileged to lead such an exceptionally talented team whose passion and commitment to ensuring great healthy food ends up on plates instead of landfill inspires me every day. There is no getting around the profound impact that COVID-19 has had on our communities, our country, and our planet. All everyone really wants is for things to feel normal again. Whether or not we ever get that feeling of normalcy is anyone's guess. Although it certainly helped as restrictions began to ease and we began connecting in person again. Pre the pandemic, 1 in 8 Canadian households could not afford to feed their family and relied on food charities, while 11.2 million tons of food was needlessly lost or wasted when it could have been served on someone's dinner plate. In normal times, we produced 4.4 gigatons of greenhouse gases a year as a result of all that wasted food. So let's not go back to normal. Let's continue to make things better. What we continue to witness as a result of COVID is a tremendous influx of Canadians who suddenly need to rely on food charity. In 2021, the number of people served at charitable food organizations increased by 72%. This meant that 6.7 million Canadians were reliant on food charity. That's 18% of the population, equivalent to the population of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta combined. The numbers are bothersome. It means there are considerable roadblocks to making food affordable, accessible, and abundant on the tables of every Canadian in a country where more than half of the food we produce ends up in landfill. The numbers also point to the need for increased support. And I am proud to be before you today to share stories about Second Harvest and the tremendous impact of this year. It's important to note that we certainly didn't do it alone. Everyone here played a role in meeting the increased need. Thanks to our incredible partnerships from the public and private sectors for food and funding, Second Harvest rose to the challenge to try to meet the demand. And while there is still so much more to do, we were able to increase our support and help millions of Canadians access the food they need. And we were only able to do this because of the generosity of our supporters. And all of us here at Second Harvest are very, very grateful. This generosity allowed for the redistribution of over 41 million pounds of food across the country. 41 million pounds, almost double what we rescued and redistributed last year. The value of that rescued food is about $120 million. And this was only possible with the support of over 4,500 food donors from right across the country and across the supply chain that provided great, healthy, perishable food from farms, fisheries, manufacturers, processors, airlines, grocery stores, and everywhere in between. We welcomed more than 2,300 new food donors in the last year who ensured we could deliver more fresh, nutritious food to people in need. 83% of the food we rescued was perishable, and 66% were in the critical categories of produce, protein, and dairy. This is food that is harder to access when you are low income, and this healthy food is becoming even further and further out of reach as a result of food inflation. All of these great products allowed us to support amazing frontline staff and organizations who are in turn supporting people in their local communities. The numbers from this year are astounding. With your help, we now support over 6,400 nonprofit food programs, delivering to places like schools, food banks, shelters, community centers, and all kinds of nonprofits supporting people with the healthy meals and hamper programs they need, enabling these organizations to serve an average of 110,000 meals per day. Last year, we supported over 3,000 social service organizations, working in more than 900 communities across the country. Our increased funding and support allowed Second Harvest to provide great healthy food to 4.2 million individuals, a significant increase from the 1.3 million people we were able to support the year prior. But behind these numbers are real people. These are people that amidst the chaos of the pandemic are struggling to make ends meet. People representing some of the most vulnerable parts of our population, including children and youth, seniors, new Canadians, and Indigenous peoples. In the North, we were able to dramatically expand our services, reaching over 130 remote communities and delivering over 2 million pounds of healthy food. And this was only possible due to some amazing and committed donors like Uber Freight and Arctic Co-op, who helped deliver 61,000 pounds of nutritious food to 7 unique communities in Nunavut alone. We were also able to expand our support last year as a result of funding we received from the Ministry of Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, which enabled 2 very important projects. The Emergency Food Security Fund allowed us to provide $8.4 million in grants for critical emergency food supports to 563 organizations. This funding enabled nonprofits and charities in communities right across the country to purchase food, grocery gift cards, food vouchers, and allowed for subsidized food distribution and staffing. The Surplus Food Rescue Program was a brilliant program funded by Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada that had tremendous economic, social, and environmental benefits. This funding allowed us to purchase over 9 million pounds of fresh surplus food from producers that were being economically impacted by the pandemic as a result of the restaurant and food service closures. Great food like eggs, salmon, chicken, and produce that we then transformed and transported to over 350 communities, from PEI to BC and as far north as Clyde River, Nunavut, and everywhere in between. Since 2001, our Harvest Kitchens programs, a skills development and training program, has provided food service training and food safety handler certification for adults and youth with barriers to employment. Unfortunately, due to COVID, In-person trainings were no longer possible. So our Harvest Kitchen partners pivoted to production kitchens in order to meet the growing need for ready-made meals. This continued last year, and our production partners were superstars, providing more than 735,000 prepared meals to 110 frontline agencies. Our deepest thanks to our nonprofit meal production partners, CORE, Boys and Girls Club East Scarborough, YMCA Metro Hall, the 519, Hospitality Workers Training Center, Frontlines, and Kitchen 24. Another highlight was the Feeding Our Future program, which is designed to support children and youth with healthy food and fun activities. This summer, we were able to provide nourishing meals to over 4,000 children and youth at 33 summer camps in priority neighborhoods. And that was only possible thanks to the 176 volunteers who spent over 700 hours packing kits for distribution. By now, I think you're getting a strong understanding of the extent Second Harvest is getting food into the hands and mouths of people experiencing hunger. In addition, we are advocates and thought leaders on the topics of food loss and waste, perishable food rescue and redistribution, and poverty reduction as it relates to food insecurity. We collaborate with industry, academia, government, and other nonprofits to find sustainable solutions critical to ensure we are focused on systemic change. That's why we maintain an active role in important groups like the Canadian Food Policy Advisory Council, the National Zero Waste Council, and many other committees that are addressing these issues from a policy and legislative level. But we are only the conduit of this great work, made possible by our amazing individual, corporate, and foundation donors and partners. Because of you, our fundraised revenue increased significantly. One of our biggest successes was our Feeding the Need campaign, which surpassed its goal of providing food for 1 million meals to Canadians in need. This was a campaign we implemented as a replacement for our Toronto Taste event that has been on hiatus since the pandemic. But keep your eyes out as Toronto Taste is coming back in June and tickets are going on sale soon. Last year, by diverting 41 million pounds of good food from landfill, we were able to prevent 162 million pounds of greenhouse gases from entering the atmosphere, more than double of what we achieved the previous year. This also prevented more than 22 billion liters of water from going to waste, enough water to fill 8,800 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Through our education program, we launched the WasteWise Revolution, and almost 5,000 people pledged to cook, store, and shop in an environmentally responsible manner. We did a great deal of work at our very small facility in Toronto, which was not nearly big enough, and we relied heavily on partners for additional cold storage and third-party logistics. But our small and mighty team never complained. They just made it work. So I am thrilled to tell you that our new home at 120 the East Mall is complete, and that we will be able to expand our services as a result of all this incredible new space. This facility will ensure the continued growth of our programs and provide a center of innovation, education, and training on food rescue and redistribution that we hope to welcome you all into very, very soon. The purchase and renovation of this building has been a true labor of love. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Greg Nordell and Richard Talbot, who led our building committee and kept us on track. I'd also like to thank our visionary donors, the Nikita Foundation and the Sprott Foundation, for providing the funding to purchase this great new space. And thank you to the Weston Foundation, Province of Ontario, and the LCBO, and so many others who believed in us and invested in the retrofit of our incredible new home. As you can see, this year has been a year of amazing growth at Second Harvest, and we are proud of the work we have done to meet the increasing challenges during these unprecedented times. The pandemic has humbled us all, helping each of us realize that there are events that happen in life that are bigger than any of us. But out of crisis comes opportunity. Opportunity to help people, yes, but also opportunity to change things for the better as more people learn to understand the inequities in our food system and become motivated to participate in the food rescue revolution. Many of you have been with Second Harvest for a long time, and this year we've welcomed many new faces. And to all of you, we are incredibly grateful and would like to extend our personal thanks. Together, we can make even more positive and lasting change.
Bernie, you're on mute. Bernie, you're on mute.
My apologies. Thank you, Lori. As chair of the Second Harvest Board of Directors, I would like to officially call this meeting to order. Notice of this meeting was duly sent out November the 11th, 2021, in accordance with the bylaws, and given that a quorum of members is present, I declare this meeting to be duly constituted for the transaction of business. The minutes from the AGM held on November 26, 2020 have been circulated and available to the members. Are there any corrections or additions to be made to these minutes? I would like to now ask for a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a proposer? Karen? Thank you. And a seconder, please?
I do, Bernie.
Richard? Thank you. Richard seconds the motion to approve the minutes. All in favor? Opposed, if any? I declare the motion to be carried. I would also like to announce that the financial statements have been approved by the Board of Directors and are available for viewing online at secondharvest.ca. I'll now turn it over to Richard Talbot, Treasurer, to present the financial report. Richard?
Well, thanks very much, Bernie, and good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to present the financial highlights for our fiscal year ending August 31, 2021. I think it's fair to say that 2021 was a year of many accomplishments despite the pandemic, and here are a few of the key highlights. As Lori mentioned, thanks to our incredible donors, volunteers, and fantastic staff, Second Harvest rescued and distributed a record volume of food this year. The value of the food that was rescued, including the Surplus Food Rescue Program, was close to $120 million. And the value of food donations increased over 50% from last year. In addition to growing Second Harvest in the short term, management and the board is focused on maintaining financial discipline and making sure we build a strong foundation for the future. So through tight cost control and the generosity of our volunteers and donors who really rallied behind us during COVID-19, and who increased their financial contributions by over 40% from fiscal 2020, we generated a surplus this last year of over $5.7 million. This coming year, these funds will be invested in continuing the growth of our national programs. I note that the cost for Second Harvest to rescue and deliver a pound of food is 36 cents a pound. This shows you just how efficient Second Harvest food rescue model is. At the end of the year, we had unrestricted cash on hand of $5.3 million and net assets of $12.4 million. We will continue to pay very close attention to these resources to make sure that we're using them efficiently and that we can continue to grow the organization for many years to come. The value of food donations is directly correlated to the categories and freshness of the food we rescue. Our year-over-year growth from fiscal 2020 was 52%. And over the last 5 years, we've maintained a compound annual growth rate of 33% per year. This year, we rescued over $30 million of produce, followed by protein and baked goods. As you know, we have many, many volunteers who help us throughout the year, and we simply couldn't do it without you. Volunteers are a vital part of how Second Harvest engages with the community, and although the volunteer program hasn't been able to function as usual during the pandemic, we're looking forward to getting back to a more normal environment where we'll be looking to the volunteer community to help support our mission to even higher levels than before. On the next slide, you'll see that this year, volunteers donated nearly 2,500 hours, representing $53,000 of value. And while this is down from our usual level, it's still absolutely incredible given the country was effectively shut down for most of the year. Looking forward, as the country opens up again, as we relocate into our new, much larger facility, and as we launch our new volunteer program on the Food Rescue app, we're extremely excited to increase the number of volunteer and training opportunities to a higher level than ever before. Finally, our goal is to have as much impact as possible. And if you look at our financials, 96 cents of every revenue dollar goes to help people through Second Harvest programs, meaning that Second Harvest has a very efficient model of rescuing perishable food and diverting it from landfill. In closing, I'd like to thank the members of the Finance Committee for all their great contributions this past year. The next item of business is the appointment of auditors. I would like to move that the chartered accounting firm of Hogshane and Sheck, PC, be appointed as auditors for Second Harvest Canada, Deuxième Récolte, for the fiscal year ending August 31, 2022. May I have a proposer, please? Bernie, thank you. And a seconder? Karen? Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? I declare the motion to approve the auditors be carried. Thank you very much. Now it's my pleasure to hand over to Karen White, a member of Second Harvest Governance and Nominations Committee. Karen, over to you.
Thanks so much, Richard. Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be here on behalf of the Governance and Nominating Committee. To begin this section, I would like to nominate our 2022 board members and say thank you to our outgoing director. The Governance and Nomination Committee is recommending for nomination the following 12 people to hold the office of director for the fiscal year 2022. Bernie Allian, Karen White Boswell, myself, Harry Dillon, Sean Goddard, Jeff Hausworth, Catherine McMillan, Satish Ray, Tamara Ramsey, Richard Talbot, Peter Thompson, Carmine Tiano, and Murray Dalphin. Are there any further nominations? There being no further nominations, I declare that the nominations process is now closed. Do I have a proposer?
I do, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Can I get a seconder?
Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any? I declare the motion to be carried. I further direct the secretary to cast a single ballot in the election of the persons nominated to hold office as director until the next meeting at which directors are elected or until otherwise replaced. We would like to welcome our newest members to the Second Harvest Board of Directors, Carmine Tiano and Murray Dalphin. Welcome. As we welcome Carmine and Murray, we all are also saying farewell and thanking Barry Telford for his many years of service to Second Harvest. Barry Telford has been a critical member of the Second Harvest Board of Directors for 11 years. Barry has provided unwavering support and guidance for many years. As president of Sodexo Canada and the Stop Hunger Foundation, he was integral to our Feeding Our Future summer lunch program. Not only did they provide the funding for the healthy food and supplies, the wonderful Sodexo staff provided space for us to prepare the food and hundreds of volunteer hours to make sure children and youth could have the healthy food they needed. Due to his connection to Michael Smith, one of the best celebrity chefs in the country, we all got to enjoy incredible tastes of PEI at many Toronto Taste events. Barry was instrumental in the research and purchase of our new building that will allow for an even greater impact tomorrow in the years to come. He is a thoughtful leader and known for his integrity, which he consistently displayed as chair and in other roles on the Second Harvest Board of Directors. We were lucky to have him at Second Harvest, and he will be missed. Now I would like to ask Jeff Houseworth to say a few words.
Thank you, Karen. At this point, we'd like to pay a tribute to Bernie as the outgoing chair, and I'll try to make him as uncomfortable as possible. Bernie, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to serve Second Harvest with you. It's hard to imagine a person better suited to guiding our mission during these times of deep transition than him. By background, Bernie joined the board in 2014, serving as secretary from 2015 to 2017, and as vice chair from 2017 to 2019. Since 2015, he has served both the executive committee and the governance committee, providing leadership, keeping a steady hand on the tiller, and holding the vision and execution of our strategic plan so we could lay a stable foundation for future growth. In this time, he has seen the rise of Second Harvest to become an international thought leader with our research and as a technology innovator with our food rescue web and mobile app. Bernie became chair in November 2019. When the pandemic hit a few months later, Bernie supported Second Harvest through the most extraordinary period of rapid expansion we've ever witnessed. Second Harvest leadership team and talented staff worked to telescope 3 years, phased, planned into 3 weeks, literally, to meet the needs of hungry Canadians. Today, despite the lingering impact of the pandemic, Second Harvest is in a stronger financial position and is sought after as a partner not only by food businesses who trust our food recovery expertise, but by some of the world's most successful brands who want to be aligned with our incredible mission. Bernie has been a key figure in our success, and today leadership matters more than ever and must be based on purpose, inspiration, caring, and compassion. Bernie possesses all of these traits and is a role model for the entire organization, guided by a strong moral compass. Bernie, for the past 7 years, you've done an amazing job putting Second Harvest on the path to success and sustainability. You leave a tremendous track record from which we now must build. Yours are big shoes to fill. On behalf of the board and the staff of Second Harvest, everyone in this room and those joining us online, thank you very much. Back to you, Bernie.
Jeff, thank you for those kind words. It's been an honor to serve as the chair over the last 2 years. I would like to thank Lori and the entire Second Harvest team for the incredible efforts and amazing results that all of you achieved. You never let the pandemic get in the way of our mission. Also, thanks to the partnership from the board, we collectively achieved so much in such a short period of time. And lastly, the ongoing support from all our donors and volunteers that make all this a reality. Thank you to everyone. There being no further business, I will ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a proposer?
Proposer.
Thank you, Jeff. Can I have a seconder? Karen, thank you. Jeff moves and Karen seconds the motion to adjourn the annual general meeting of Second Harvest, recorded at 6:35 on December the 9th, 2021. This concludes the formal component of our AGM. Now with the formal portion of the AGM complete, I'd like to review our strategic plan. As we head into the final year of our 3-year strategic plan, we can all be very proud of what we've accomplished. The first 2 years have been exceptional. we have met and exceeded the goals we set for ourselves as an organization. Now, as we enter the third and final year of our strategic plan, our goal is to solidify a strong foundation to ensure the sustainability of our recent growth. Continuing to look through the pillars of sustainable growth, talent management, and brand awareness and communication. We will continue to recruit and expand our national food and funding partners to provide even more healthy food for people experiencing hunger. This will allow us to support an additional 485 agencies with rescued food. And we are committed to ramping up our training and education programs to ensure children, youth, and adults can access food safety knowledge and build the important skills necessary for reducing food waste. We plan to continue to decrease the climate impact by averting more than 165 million pounds of greenhouse gases from entering the atmosphere. And continue our financial growth, increasing our unrestricted cash to 11.5 million while maintaining financial discipline to ensure our growth is sustainable. Lastly, we'll drive donor engagement and retention with an agile and flexible business model, opening an additional 1,850 food donor locations across Canada. That's an increase of 10 to 15%. In terms of talent management, we have enhanced our board governance by creating a new board renewal policy, which we continue to refine, that includes enhancement, recruitment, evaluation, and structure. We've developed an employee performance plan and continue to support career development and optimizing objectives for all roles, and we are increasing our staff complement by 27% to 105 full-time employees. For leadership development, we continue to create succession plans to ensure depth of management. And we will continue to elevate and broaden our awareness locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally in the space of food rescue and redistribution, food loss and waste, and food security. We will identify and develop new research opportunities and provide thought leadership on relevant public affairs issues, informing legislative and policy changes through Canada's Food Advisory Council and Standards Council Mirror Committee on food loss and waste. We are also excited to unveil our brand Fresh in March, which brings a freshness to Second Harvest that was long overdue. We will use our new brand and website to conduct more awareness, generating campaigns that increase Second Harvest profile, so we're even better known for as the go-to facility for food rescue, knowledge sharing, training, and best practices in food loss and waste and perishable food recovery. Lastly, we'll strengthen our internal communications to ensure all staff and board members are able to speak knowledgeably regarding our growth and food recovery expertise. A couple of ways we'll do this will be through good news reporting and quarterly town halls. Our efforts to raise awareness will build upon our many successes in fiscal 21. Second Harvest thought leadership was acknowledged by Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, which launched the Canadian Food Policy Advisory Council and appointed our CEO, Lori Nicol, as one of its members. The Advisory Council is a key component of the food policy for Canada, and we will provide a critical forum to engage food, community, and agriculture leaders on how we can collectively build a better food system for all Canadians, and we'll also provide advice to the Minister on current and emerging issues. Lori also became a member of the Standards Council of Canada's Mirror Committee on Food Loss and Waste. This is a very important milestone for Second Harvest that will help grow our brand nationally and internationally, and will ensure that we have a voice at the table informing public policy on the reduction of food loss and waste. Second Harvest staff across Canada shared our food rescue expertise at 35 conferences, panel discussions, and presentations this year, including an invitation to present to the House of Commons Standing Committee on Indigenous and Northern Affairs about food security in Northern communities. From presenting to students at the University of Toronto, to introducing our food rescue app to the Government of New Brunswick, to leading a food preservation workshop for nutrition educators in the Northwest Territories, our staff were sharing our food rescue expertise coast to coast to coast. Our media presence continues to grow as our expert contributions to op-eds and interviews and our research data continue to set the national standard in discussions of food loss and waste. Last fiscal, Second Harvest staff, research, and partnerships were featured more than 1,500 times in print, broadcast, and digital media outlets. The growth of our media presence is also driven by our numerous partnerships and cause marketing initiatives. Our partners are proud to talk about their support of our work and mission, and it shows. I've been honored to be the board chair of Second Harvest these past 2 years during an incredibly difficult time in Canada's history, and I look forward to what the future holds for this amazing organization that has such tremendous supporters and partners. I want to thank our drivers, warehouse workers, national staff, finance and administration team, development department, food raisers, marketing communications team, product development team, community program staff, and our leadership team for their commitment and passion that have enabled this tremendous growth and impact. And of course, none of this would be possible without the outstanding contributions of our incredible donors and volunteers whose support get us closer and closer to the goal of no waste, no hunger. So as I sign off as chair of Second Harvest, I look at what we've accomplished thus far with tremendous sense of pride. Of course, almost all of the credit is due to the staff at Second Harvest, our financial, food, and in-kind donors, our partners in the field, and our base of volunteers, all of whom banded together to tackle an important challenge. It has been said that challenges make life interesting. Overcoming challenges make life meaningful. That is probably what best describes why I've chosen to be involved with Second Harvest. And while the fight against food waste and hunger continues, I think we can all say that we've made a difference in helping make our society a better place for now and years to come. So to you all, and on behalf of the Board of Directors, I thank you very much for your continued dedication and support. Over to you, Lori.
We are so grateful to you, Bernie, for your leadership, and our deepest thanks to the Second Harvest Board of Directors, our supporters, the Second Harvest team, and everyone here tonight. We appreciate you, and we are so glad to be with you on this journey. I would like to take one more opportunity to thank all of our incredible supporters. Thank you for supporting families and individuals across the country and giving them the peace of mind they need to take care of themselves and each other during these trying times. The challenges of the pandemic reinforced the precariousness of many Canadians. It demonstrated how crucial Second Harvest and the thousands of nonprofit agencies we partner with are in helping people who are experiencing food insecurity. When people are concerned about their health and well-being, not having the added stress of how they are going to eat is hugely important. So thank you for stepping up as leaders in our community. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for entrusting Second Harvest to be the conduit of your generosity. We are so very, very grateful. And lastly, we wanted to close the meeting by sharing a video. which is intended to communicate our thanks to our donors and partners, because without your support, none of this would be possible. Thank you.
Zurich Canada chose to support Second Harvest because food insecurity and the environmental impacts of avoidable food waste in our country are real issues that we believe we can positively influence together.
Sobeys chose to join Second Harvest in its fight against food waste because they're leaders in this space.
We're partners with Second Harvest because of the ease of use of the Food Rescue app.
McCain Foods has chosen to partner with Second Harvest because ensuring all communities are able to access the food they need to thrive has always been and will continue to be a top priority.
We chose to work with Second Harvest because we believe that everyone deserves healthy food.
A big thank you to the team at Second Harvest and to all of the donors. We really appreciate your support. Thank you.
I choose to join Second Harvest in its fight against food waste because people need help. Let's do it together.
Because it's the right thing to do. And it's everyone's responsibility to help those in the community in most need.
We chose to join Second Harvest to better support our community.
From the White House, thank you to all the supporters of Second Harvest.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to support Canadians who we know are struggling to get meals on their tables.
Because of you partnering with Second Harvest, people do not have to go to bed hungry tonight.
As a Starbucks partner, I know that we can do so much by donating our food and reducing greenhouse emissions.
Thank you for your kindness.
Thank you.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Salamat.
Walang dinisum. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you. The Second Harvest Board will now meet via Teams. Have a great night, everyone.